Every generation or two, basketball produces a physical miracle that forces the NBA to rethink its entire rulebook. George Mikan created the goaltending rule, Wilt Chamberlain forced the widening of the paint, and Stephen Curry stretched defensive boundaries out to logo distance. But what happens when an athlete arrives who combines all of those generational traits into a single 7'4" frame? Enter Victor Wembanyama. Armed with an 8-foot wingspan, the ball-handling fluidity of a guard, and the shot-blocking radius of a video game cheat code, the Frenchman has bypassed standard athletic development curves. He isn't just dominating games, he is actively changing how opponents design plays, take shots, and construct rosters. This is the story of Victor Wembanyama, the player who might break basketball forever. The anomaly: guard skills in a giant's frame. Historically, players standing over 7'2" were specialized interior weapons. They were bound to the paint, relied on traditional post hooks, and struggled to move laterally against quick perimeter guards. Wembanyama completely shattered that archetype from day one. Watching a 7'4" athlete pull up for transition step-back threes, run off down-screen actions, and execute fluid crossover dribbles in traffic feels surreal. His ability to handle the ball on the perimeter forces opposing center defenders completely out of their comfort zone. You cannot drop off him because he'll shoot over you, and you cannot press up on him because he'll simply glide past you in 2 strides. He has combined modern positionless basketball skill with historic physical dimensions. Furthermore, his capacity to initiate fast breaks directly off defensive rebounds eliminates the need for a traditional point guard transition setup. Opposing scouting departments have found conventional defensive schemes entirely ineffective against a player who can execute isolation moves from the logo. This total warping of standard floor spacing and matchup assignments creates an offensive nightmare that defensive coordinators have never previously encountered. Ultimately, his guard-like fluidity inside a colossal frame redefines what coaches believe is biomechanically possible on a basketball court. His unmatched coordination allows him to orchestrate pick and rolls as the ball handler rather than the roller, completely inverting conventional defensive assignments. Defenders find themselves trapped in an impossible geometry, unsure whether to play up for the jumper or backpedal against his driving stride. This unique blend of guard mechanics and center elevation renders traditional scouting reports entirely obsolete. Consequently, every defensive possession against him requires a frantic, multi-man emergency protocol that disrupts an opponent's entire game plan. The unanimous defensive monopoly and the shrinking floor. While Wembanyama's offensive ceiling is terrifying, his defensive impact is where he literally breaks the sport, leading the league in blocks from his rookie season onward and becoming the youngest and first unanimous Defensive Player of the Year in NBA history. Wemby has turned the paint into a complete no-fly zone. His 8-foot wingspan allows him to contest shots he has no right reach. Players who think they have an open reverse layup or corner three suddenly find their shot swallowed whole by a late recovering Wembanyama. Opposing teams have begun altering their entire offensive spacing just to avoid his side of the court, giving up high-percentage paint attempts purely out of fear. When a single defender can eliminate 50% of the court without moving, the traditional geometry of an NBA offense breaks down. Shooters find themselves hesitating in the corner as they calculate the impossible recovery speed of his long frame. Drive and kick systems stall out because passing lanes that are normally open vanish in a split second. This psychological deterrence forces entire offenses into low efficiency, contested mid-range jumpers, out of sheer desperation. His presence single-handedly dictates the flow, tempo, and shot selection of every team unfortunate enough to face him. The Greg Popovich and Spurs blueprint. Physical gifts mean nothing without the right developmental structure, and Wembanyama landed in the absolute ideal situation with the San Antonio Spurs under Hall of Fame coach Greg Popovich. Having previously guided David Robinson and Tim Duncan to multiple NBA titles, the Spurs organization understood exactly how to nurture a generational big man. Instead of shoehorning Wemby into a rigid, traditional center role early on, San Antonio empowered him to make mistakes, play on the perimeter, and experiment with his playmaking capabilities. That patient, player-first development strategy paid massive dividends, building a complete, high-IQ superstar who understands how to read complex defensive coverages and control team pacing at the highest level. The franchise deliberately insulated him from media hysteria, focusing heavily on core foundational habits in body preservation. This meticulous approach ensured his unique physique developed harmoniously without exposing him to unnecessary structural strain. Under Popovich's veteran guidance, his natural competitive fire was channeled into disciplined team concepts rather than reckless isolation play. Consequently, the synergy between an all-time coaching legend and an extraterrestrial talent created an incubator for unmatched professional growth. Olympic maturity and the big game crucible. Wembanyama's rapid ascent isn't just a regular season phenomenon, it has been tested on international sports' grandest stages. During the 2024 Paris Olympics, at just 20 years old, he carried the weight of a nation on his shoulders, leading France to a silver medal and pushing Team USA's roster of battle, tested NBA legends to the absolute brink in the gold medal game. Facing intense physical double teams and international physicality only accelerated his basketball maturity. Experiencing high-stakes elimination basketball early in his career equipped him with a cold, relentless competitive mindset, proving that his game shines brightest when the national spotlight is most intense. The unique FIBA rule set, which lacks defensive 3-second violations, allowed him to anchor a suffocating international zone scheme with absolute authority. Going blow for blow against global icons on foreign soil stripped away any remaining youthful hesitancy from his game. This crucible of high-pressure international play forged an inner resilience that directly translated into his subsequent NBA campaigns. He proved unequivocally that the brightest lights only amplify his extraordinary capabilities rather than expose any vulnerabilities. The arms race: how the league must adapt. When an unstoppable player emerges, the rest of the league is forced to react. Just as franchises in the 2000s stacked heavy center depth specifically to absorb fouls against Shaquille O'Neal, front offices across the NBA are now scrambling to draft and trade for hyper-lengthy, versatile defenders who can attempt to contest Wembanyama's high-release jump shots. As Wemby continues to add functional strength to his frame while refining his decision-making, the gap between his talent ceiling and the rest of the league threatens to widen even further. We are entering an era where teams won't just build to win championships, they will build specifically to solve the Victor Wembanyama problem. General managers across the association are actively re-evaluating draft board metrics, prioritizing wingspan to height ratios and lateral mobility over traditional positional skill sets. Tactical playbooks league-wide are undergoing radical revisions to incorporate specialized screening and decoy actions designed to pull him away from the basket. The sheer gravity of his existence forces opposing teams to completely rethink their multi-year roster construction timelines. Ultimately, basketball has entered a new evolutionary epoch where every single franchise must measure its future viability against the terrifying prospect of containing the ultimate basketball anomaly. Victor Wembanyama represents the ultimate evolution of basketball talent, a player who defies positional logic, breaks defensive tracking metrics, and redefines what is physically possible on a basketball court. Do you think Wemby will go down as the greatest defensive player in NBA history, or will his offensive game end up defining his ultimate legacy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next upload. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.